In the heart of Eldoria, where the sun painted the skies with hues of gold and lavender, life thrived in harmony. The kingdom was a tapestry of vibrant meadows, lush forests, and sparkling rivers, each thread woven together by the laughter of its people. Festivals celebrating the changing seasons filled the air with music and joy, and the scent of blooming flowers wafted through the village like a sweet promise of prosperity. Among the villagers was Alara, a spirited girl of 16 with an insatiable curiosity and a heart full of dreams. With her chestnut hair cascading in waves and bright green eyes that sparkled with mischief, she often wandered through the fields, exploring every nook and cranny of her beloved kingdom. But lately, a cloud of unease had begun to settle over Eldoria. It started with whispers, soft murmurs among the villagers about strange occurrences that disrupted their peaceful existence. Crops that had flourished for generations began to wilt overnight, their once vibrant colors fading to a dull brown. Livestock grew restless, their eyes wide with fear as they sensed something amiss. Even the sun seemed to shy away at times, casting long shadows that loomed over the village like ominous harbingers. One afternoon, as Alara roamed through the bustling marketplace, she overheard snippets of conversation that sent chills down her spine. "Did you hear about old man Thorn's fields?" a woman whispered to her friend. "He lost everything in a single night." Another villager chimed in, "And my goats haven't returned from grazing." They must have sensed something terrible. Alara's heart raced as she listened. Something was wrong. Something beyond mere bad luck or misfortune. She felt a pull deep within her, an instinct urging her to uncover the truth behind these unsettling signs. That evening, as twilight descended upon Eldoria and stars began to twinkle in the indigo sky, Alara climbed up to her grandmother's attic, a place filled with dusty relics and forgotten treasures from generations past. Her grandmother often spoke of their ancestors and the magic that once thrived in Eldoria. Perhaps there were answers hidden among the old belongings. As she rummaged through boxes filled with faded photographs and yellowed scrolls, a glimmer caught her eye from a corner shrouded in shadows. Curious, Alara approached and discovered an ornate wooden chest adorned with intricate carvings of mythical creatures and swirling patterns. With trembling hands, she opened the chest to reveal its contents, a collection of ancient maps and scrolls. One map stood out among the rest. It was unlike anything she had ever seen before. It depicted not just Eldoria but also lands beyond, regions marked with symbols she couldn't decipher. Alara's heart raced as she carefully unfolded it. In one corner was a faded inscription, "The Lost Kingdom." Her mind raced with possibilities. Could this lost kingdom hold secrets that might explain the troubles plaguing Eldoria? Determined to learn more, Alara tucked the map under her arm and hurried downstairs to find her grandmother. She found her sitting by the fireplace, knitting quietly. "Grandma," Alara exclaimed breathlessly as she entered. "I found something incredible in the attic." Her grandmother looked up with a smile but quickly turned serious at Alara's expression. "What is it, my dear?" Alara spread out the map on the table before them. "Look, it's a map of Eldoria, and beyond. It mentions a lost kingdom." Her grandmother leaned closer, her eyes widening as she traced the intricate lines with her fingers. "Ah, yes, I've heard whispers about it from my own grandmother," she said thoughtfully. "Legends say it was once a place of great power and magic but vanished from our world long ago. Do you think it could help us?" Alara asked eagerly. "With everything happening in our village, the crops failing, animals acting strangely." Her grandmother sighed deeply, concern etched on her face. "The lost kingdom may hold answers we seek, but it is also shrouded in mystery and danger." "I have to find it," Alara declared resolutely. "If there's even a chance it could help save Eldoria, I must go." Her grandmother hesitated for a moment but then nodded slowly. "Very well, my dear. If you choose this path, you must be prepared for what lies ahead." That night, as Alara lay in bed clutching the map close to her heart, she felt both excitement and trepidation swirling within her. The stars twinkled outside her window like distant lanterns guiding her toward an unknown destiny. With determination burning brightly in her chest, Alara closed her eyes and envisioned herself embarking on an adventure, a quest that would lead her beyond familiar lands into uncharted territories where secrets awaited discovery. Little did she know that this journey would not only test her courage but also reveal truths about herself and her kingdom, an adventure filled with magic, friendship, and challenges that would shape her into the hero Eldoria desperately needed. As sleep finally claimed her amidst dreams of far-off lands illuminated by starlight, Alara knew one thing for certain. Tomorrow would mark the beginning of an extraordinary quest, one that would change everything forever. The morning sun rose over Eldoria, casting a warm golden light across the village. Alara awoke with a renewed sense of purpose, her heart racing at the thought of the adventure that awaited her. The ancient map lay spread out on her desk, its intricate markings and faded lines calling to her like a siren's song. She knew she couldn't embark on this quest alone. She needed allies, friends who would stand by her side through whatever challenges lay ahead. After breakfast, Alara set off to find her closest friends, Kai and Mira. Kai was known for his exceptional archery skills and adventurous spirit, while Mira possessed a deep connection to nature and an innate talent for healing. Together, they made an unstoppable trio. Alara found them at their usual meeting spot, a large oak tree at the edge of the village, its sprawling branches providing shade from the sun. As she approached, she could see Kai practicing his archery, arrows flying straight and true into a target he had set up against a nearby tree. Mira sat cross-legged on the grass, surrounded by wildflowers, gently tending to them as she hummed a soft tune. "Hey, you two," Alara called out, waving excitedly. Kai turned and grinned, lowering his bow. "Alara, you're just in time to see my latest trick." He knocked another arrow and released it with precision, hitting the bullseye. "Impressive as always," Alara said, clapping her hands. "But I need to talk to you both about something important." Mira looked up from her flowers, her curiosity piqued. "What's going on?" Alara took a deep breath and shared her discovery from the previous night, the ancient map and the legends of the Lost Kingdom. As she spoke, she could see their expressions shift from curiosity to concern. "Crops are failing, animals are acting strangely. I believe this Lost Kingdom might hold answers," she concluded. "I want to find it, but I can't do it alone." Kai's eyes sparkled with excitement. "An adventure. Count me in. I've always wanted to explore beyond our village." Mira nodded thoughtfully but added, "But we need to be careful. If there's darkness threatening Eldoria, we must prepare ourselves for what we might face." "I agree," Alara said. "We should gather supplies and plan our route based on what we can decipher from the map." With their decision made, the trio set off toward the village market to gather provisions for their journey. The market was bustling with activity, vendors called out their wares while children laughed and played nearby. Alara felt a sense of urgency as they navigated through the crowd. They stopped at a stall where a kind old woman sold herbs and potions. Mira approached her with interest. "Do you have anything that could help us on our journey?" The woman smiled knowingly and handed Mira a small pouch filled with dried herbs. "These will help heal wounds and soothe pain. Take care of each other out there." "Thank you," Mira said gratefully as she tucked the pouch into her bag. Next, they visited a blacksmith's stall where Kai picked out a sturdy quiver for his arrows and a few extra bolts for his crossbow. "I'll need these if we encounter any creatures along the way," he said confidently. Alara browsed through various supplies until she found a sturdy rope and some basic provisions, dried fruits, nuts, and water skins that would sustain them during their travels. With their supplies gathered and hearts filled with excitement, they returned to their meeting spot beneath the oak tree to finalize their plans. According to the map, Alara said as she spread it out again on the grass, the Lost Kingdom is located beyond the Misty Mountains and through the Whispering Woods. "The Misty Mountains," Kai exclaimed. "I've heard tales about those peaks being treacherous. And the Whispering Woods are said to be enchanted," Mira added thoughtfully. "We'll need to stay alert. Magical creatures might inhabit those woods." Alara nodded firmly. "We can't let fear stop us. We must trust in each other's strengths." As they plotted their route on the map, a sense of camaraderie filled the air, an unspoken bond forged through shared dreams of adventure and discovery. Just then, Alara noticed shadows gathering in the distance, dark clouds swirling ominously above Eldoria's horizon. A chill ran down her spine as she recalled stories of dark magic that had once plagued their land. "We should leave soon," Alara urged, glancing at her friends with determination in her eyes. "The sooner we start our journey, the better." With one last look at their village, a place filled with memories of laughter and joy, they set off toward their destiny under an ever-darkening sky. As they walked together along winding paths leading away from familiar lands toward uncharted territories marked by legends long forgotten, Alara felt an exhilarating mix of fear and anticipation bubbling within her heart. Together they would face whatever awaited them beyond Eldoria's borders, ready to uncover truths hidden within shadows while forging bonds stronger than any darkness that threatened their home. With their supplies packed and spirits high, Alara, Kai, and Mira set off on their journey to find the Lost Kingdom. The sun shone brightly overhead, casting a warm glow over the landscape as they left the familiar sights of Eldoria behind. Each step felt like a leap into the unknown, filled with excitement and a hint of trepidation. As they walked along the winding path that led toward the misty mountains, Alara felt a mix of anticipation and anxiety. The ancient map lay securely in her backpack, its markings guiding their way. She glanced at her friends, who walked beside her, each embodying a unique strength that would help them on this quest. "Are you ready for this?" Kai asked, his voice light but edged with seriousness. He adjusted the quiver of arrows slung across his back. "Absolutely," Alara replied, her confidence growing with each step. "We're going to uncover the secrets of the Lost Kingdom and save our home." Mira smiled softly at them both. "Just remember to stay close together. We don't know what we might encounter out here." As they continued their trek, the terrain began to change. The gentle hills gave way to rocky outcrops and dense thickets. The air grew cooler, and a sense of stillness enveloped them, a stark contrast to the vibrant life of their village. After several hours of walking, they reached the base of the misty mountains. Towering peaks loomed above them, shrouded in a veil of fog that swirled like ghostly tendrils. The path ahead appeared steep and treacherous. "Looks like we'll need to climb," Kai said, eyeing the rocky ascent with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Alara nodded. "Let's take it slow and watch our footing." They began their ascent, carefully navigating the rocky terrain. As they climbed higher, the fog thickened around them, obscuring their view of what lay ahead. Alara could feel her heart racing, not just from exertion but from anticipation of what awaited them on this journey. "Stay close," Mira called out as she led the way up a narrow ledge. "The rocks are slippery here." Just as they reached a particularly steep section, Alara heard a rustling sound nearby. She paused and turned her head sharply toward the noise. "Did you hear that?" Kai squinted into the fog but shook his head. "Probably just the wind." But Alara wasn't convinced. She took a cautious step forward, straining to see through the mist. Suddenly, a creature leapt out from behind a boulder, a small fox with shimmering silver fur and bright blue eyes. "Whoa!" Kai exclaimed, nearly stumbling backward. The fox regarded them curiously but showed no signs of aggression. Instead, it tilted its head as if assessing their intentions. "Is it friendly?" Mira asked cautiously. Alara knelt down slowly, extending her hand toward the fox. "It looks like it wants to help us." To her surprise, the fox approached her without hesitation and sniffed her fingers before nuzzling against her palm. A warm feeling spread through Alara as she realized this creature was not just an ordinary fox, there was something magical about it. "I think it's guiding us," she said softly. The fox turned and looked back at them as if urging them to follow. Without exchanging words, they decided to trust this unexpected ally and followed closely behind as it led them further up the mountain path. As they climbed higher into the misty heights, Alara felt a sense of wonder wash over her. The fox darted ahead with grace and agility, occasionally glancing back to ensure they were keeping up. After what felt like hours of climbing, they finally reached a plateau where the fog began to clear slightly. The view was breathtaking. Rolling hills stretched out below them like a patchwork quilt of greens and golds under a brilliant blue sky. "Wow," Kai breathed in awe as he took in the scenery. "This is incredible." But before they could fully appreciate their surroundings, the fox suddenly stopped and turned its gaze toward a distant cave entrance hidden among jagged rocks. Alara followed its line of sight and felt a thrill run through her. "That must be where we need to go." The fox seemed to sense her excitement and bounded toward the cave entrance with renewed energy. They hurried after it, eager to uncover what lay within. As they approached the cave mouth, Alara felt an electric charge in the air, a sense that they were stepping into something significant. The entrance was adorned with strange carvings etched into stone, symbols that resembled those on their map. "This place feels ancient," Mira whispered as she traced her fingers over one of the carvings. "Let's see what's inside," Kai urged as he gripped his bow tightly while they stepped into the darkness together. Inside, The cave opened up into a vast chamber illuminated by bioluminescent fungi that glowed softly along its walls. The atmosphere was cool and damp. Echoes reverberated gently around them as they ventured deeper into this magical realm. After navigating through winding tunnels filled with shimmering crystals that sparkled like stars above them, Alara felt an inexplicable pull guiding her forward once more. There, she pointed excitedly toward a larger chamber ahead where light danced off surfaces like liquid silver. Inside this grand chamber stood an altar bathed in soft light, the amulet of light resting atop it like a precious gem waiting to be claimed. As Alara approached cautiously, her heart racing with anticipation, she reached out for it when suddenly shadows flickered around them once more. A dark figure emerged from behind one of the crystal formations, a guardian spirit shrouded in mist with eyes glowing fiercely bright. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" it demanded in a voice echoing through stone walls like thunder. Alara stepped forward bravely despite her fear. She knew what she had to do. "We seek only knowledge and protection for our kingdom." The guardian spirit regarded them warily but then softened slightly as it sensed their sincerity. "Prove your worthiness by answering my riddle," it challenged. With hearts pounding but resolve unwavering, the trio prepared themselves for whatever lay ahead. United by friendship, they would face this trial together. The guardian spirit loomed before Alara, Kai, and Mira, its ethereal form shimmering in the dim light of the cave. The air crackled with tension as they braced themselves for the challenge ahead. "Answer my riddle," the spirit intoned, its voice echoing like thunder through the cavern. "Only then will you claim the amulet of light and prove your worthiness to protect your kingdom." Alara exchanged determined glances with her friends. They had faced fears and overcome trials together. They could do this. "What is your riddle?" she asked, her voice steady. The spirit's eyes glowed brighter as it spoke. "I can be cracked, made, told, and played. What am I?" Alara's mind raced as she considered the possibilities. She glanced at Kai and Mira, who were deep in thought. "Cracked, made, told, and played," she murmured. "Could it be a joke?" Kai suggested hesitantly. "No," Mira said, shaking her head. "A joke can't be made or told in a way that fits all those clues." Alara closed her eyes for a moment, focusing on the essence of the riddle. She thought about the things that brought joy and laughter to their lives, things that could unite people. Suddenly, it clicked. "Wait," Alara exclaimed. "It's a story. Stories can be cracked open like a book, made up by someone, told to others, and played out in performances." The guardian spirit paused, its expression inscrutable as it considered her answer. "A story," it repeated slowly. "You speak wisely." With bated breath, Alara watched as the spirit nodded in approval. "You have answered correctly. Stories hold power. They connect us all." As it spoke those words, the amulet of light began to glow with an intense brilliance. The spirit stepped aside, revealing the pedestal where the amulet rested. "Claim your prize," it said, its voice now softer and filled with warmth. Alara stepped forward and lifted the amulet from its resting place. The moment she held it in her hands, a surge of energy coursed through her body, light enveloped her like a protective cocoon. She felt visions flash before her eyes, scenes of unity and hope, of Eldoria flourishing under the guardianship of those who believed in its magic. With both the shield of unity and the amulet of light now in their possession, Alara turned to Kai and Mira with excitement shining in her eyes. "We did it. We have 2 relics." Kai grinned widely while Mira clutched her heart in disbelief. "This is incredible, but we still need to find the Staff of Harmony." "Let's head to the Summit of Winds," Alara urged, determination flooding her veins. We're one step closer to confronting Serafina. With renewed purpose fueling their journey, they left the glimmering caves behind and made their way toward the Summit of Winds, a towering peak that loomed majestically against the sky. As they ascended the mountain trail, they encountered fierce winds that whipped around them like playful spirits trying to deter their progress. Alara felt invigorated by the challenge. She embraced the wind as if it were a companion urging her forward. After hours of climbing steep paths and navigating rocky outcrops, they finally reached the summit just as dusk began to settle over Eldoria, a breathtaking view unfolding before them. The horizon was painted with hues of orange and purple as the sun dipped below distant mountains. In this serene moment, however, Alara sensed something was amiss. "Do you feel that?" she asked suddenly. "Yes," Mira replied cautiously. "It feels heavy." Before they could react further, dark clouds gathered ominously above them, thunder rumbled in the distance as shadows began to swirl around them once more. From within those shadows emerged Serafina, the powerful sorceress who had threatened their kingdom. Her presence was suffocating. She radiated dark energy that chilled Alara to her core. "You dare come here," Serafina sneered, her voice dripping with contempt. "You think you can stop me with mere trinkets?" Alara stepped forward bravely despite her fear. She could feel the power of both relics coursing through her veins, strengthened by unity with Kai and Mira beside her. "We are not afraid of you," Alara declared defiantly. "We will protect our home." Serafina laughed darkly as lightning flashed above them. "Foolish children, you think you can wield power against me? I will crush your spirits." With a flick of her wrist, shadows surged forward like a wave crashing upon them, dark tendrils reaching out to ensnare them. "Together," Kai shouted as he knocked an arrow and aimed at Serafina's heart. Mira raised her hands toward Alara's shield, the shield of unity glowing brightly as it absorbed some of the dark energy surrounding them. Alara held up both relics, the amulet of light pulsing with brilliance, as she focused on channeling their combined power into one unified force against Serafina's darkness. "Now," Alara shouted as they unleashed their magic together, a radiant beam erupting from their relics toward Serafina. The light clashed against darkness in an explosive confrontation, illuminating everything around them as power surged through each one of them. As shadows writhed and twisted under this onslaught, the sorceress screamed in fury. But Alara felt something shift within herself. She realized that this was not just about defeating Serafina, it was about embracing who she truly was. Drawing strength from every story told throughout Eldoria's history, from every friendship forged along this journey, she focused all her energy into one final push. "By our unity and love for our home," Alara cried out fiercely. The beam intensified, a blinding light engulfing everything until darkness began to dissipate before their eyes. In that moment, everything changed. Shadows were banished back into nothingness as Serafina's screams faded into silence. As dawn broke over Eldoria, a new day emerged filled with hope. The trio stood victorious atop that mountain, forever changed by what they had accomplished together. Breathless yet triumphant, they looked at one another knowing this was only just beginning. United by purpose, they would continue to fight for their kingdom, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The guardian spirit studied them intently. "To claim the Staff of Harmony, you must prove your worthiness by demonstrating your understanding of harmony itself." "What do you mean?" Kai asked, his brow furrowed in confusion. "Harmony is not merely about balance, it is about unity and understanding," she explained. "You must work together to solve a challenge that reflects these principles." Alara felt a surge of determination rising within her. "We're ready. Just tell us what we need to do." The guardian spirit gestured toward a clearing ahead where 3 stones stood in a triangular formation. Each stone represents an aspect of harmony, trust, compassion, and courage. You must each step forward and share a moment when you embodied one of these qualities. Alara exchanged glances with Kai and Mira before stepping forward confidently. She placed her hand on one of the stones, its surface cool against her palm. "I'll start," she said, taking a deep breath. "There was a time when I was afraid to speak up for what I believed in during one of our village meetings. But I realized that if I wanted things to change for our community, I had to trust my voice and share my ideas with others." As she spoke, the stone began to glow softly beneath her touch. Next was Kai's turn as he stepped up to another stone. "I remember when we were kids," he began with a smile. "There was a time when I found an injured bird near our home. Instead of leaving it behind or being scared to approach it, I felt compassion for its suffering and took care of it until it could fly again." His stone also began to glow warmly as he spoke. Finally, Mira approached the last stone with a thoughtful expression. "I've always believed that courage isn't just about facing danger head-on, it's about being there for others when they need support," she said softly. "When my mother fell ill last winter, I had to summon all my courage not only for myself but also for my family as we navigated through that difficult time together." As she finished speaking, all 3 stones pulsed brightly in unison, radiating light that illuminated the grove around them. The guardian spirit smiled approvingly as she stepped forward into their circle. "You have demonstrated true understanding of harmony through your words and actions," she declared. With that affirmation echoing in their hearts, the ground beneath them trembled slightly as vines began to part, revealing an ornate pedestal at its center, a magnificent staff resting atop it, the Staff of Harmony. Alara approached cautiously. Her heart raced at this final discovery. She reached out and grasped it firmly as warmth enveloped her once more, a surge of energy coursing through her body like wildfire igniting embers. Together we can restore balance. Alara exclaimed triumphantly as she held up both relics, the Shield of Unity and Amulet of Light, alongside this new staff. With newfound strength surging through them, the trio felt invincible. They were ready to confront whatever darkness lay ahead. But just then, a shadow flickered at the edge of their vision, a dark figure lurking among trees beyond sight. "Stay alert," Kai called out as they prepared for whatever threat awaited them next. Alara tightened her grip on all three relics, determined not only to protect her friends but also everything they held dear, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead on this extraordinary journey. The air crackled with tension as Alara, Kai, and Mira stood in the sacred grove, the Staff of Harmony in Alara's hands and the other two relics glowing brightly at her side. The shadows that had flickered at the edge of their vision coalesced into a dark figure, a menacing silhouette that sent a chill down their spines. "Serafina!" Alara exclaimed, recognizing the sorceress who had threatened their kingdom. The dark energy radiating from her was palpable, and the atmosphere grew heavy with dread. "You think you can stop me with those trinkets?" Serafina sneered, her voice dripping with contempt. "You are merely children playing at heroism. We're not afraid of you." Kai shouted defiantly, knocking an arrow to his bow. Mira stood beside him, ready to support her friends with her healing abilities if necessary. Alara felt a surge of courage as she stepped forward, holding the Staff of Harmony high. "We will protect our home. Your darkness ends here." Serafina laughed darkly, a sound that echoed through the grove like thunder. "You think you can defeat me? I have powers beyond your comprehension." With a flick of her wrist, shadows surged forward like a tidal wave, reaching out to ensnare them. "Now!" Alara shouted as she raised the Staff of Harmony. The staff pulsed with energy, and she felt the warmth of the Shield of Unity and the Amulet of Light beside her. Together, as if responding to her call, Kai released his arrow, imbued with light from the Amulet of Light. It flew true, striking one of the dark tendrils and causing it to disintegrate into shimmering particles. Mira raised her hands, channeling healing energy toward her friends while also creating a protective barrier around them. "We need to focus on our unity," she urged. "We can't let fear divide us." Alara closed her eyes for a moment, centering herself amidst the chaos. She could feel the power of the relics flowing through her, each one representing a core value they had fought for: unity, light, and harmony. Drawing on this strength, she began to chant an incantation passed down through generations in Eldoria. "By the light of our hearts and the strength of our bonds, we stand united against darkness that responds. With courage and love, we shall rise above. Protectors of Eldoria, guided by love." As she spoke, a brilliant light erupted from the staff, illuminating the grove and pushing back against Serafina's shadows. The energy surged forward like a wave, enveloping Serafina in its brilliance. "No, this cannot be," Serafina shrieked as she struggled against the light. Shadows writhed around her but began to dissipate under its intensity. Alara felt an overwhelming connection to her friends, an unbreakable bond forged through their shared journey and trials. With each heartbeat, they channeled their collective strength into one final push. "Now, together," Alara cried out, with one last surge of energy from all three relics combined, the Shield of Unity glowing fiercely in response. The light intensified into a blinding beam that shot toward Serafina. The sorceress screamed as the light engulfed her completely, darkness shattered like glass under its brilliance. In an explosion of energy that shook the very ground beneath them, Serafina was banished back into the shadows from whence she came. As silence fell over the grove, Alara, Kai, and Mira stood panting but victorious. The air felt lighter now, warmth returned as sunlight streamed through the trees once more. "We did it!" Kai exclaimed breathlessly, his eyes wide with disbelief. Alara looked at her friends, tears of joy brimming in her eyes. "We really did, together." Mira smiled brightly as she embraced both of them. "This is just the beginning. We've restored balance to Eldoria." With newfound purpose igniting their spirits, The trio descended from the summit back toward their village, each step filled with hope for what lay ahead. As they entered Eldoria's borders once more, the sun shining brightly overhead, they were greeted by villagers who had gathered in anticipation. Cheers erupted as they recognized their heroes returning home. Alara felt a swell of pride as she held up the staff of harmony for all to see, the shield of unity and amulet of light gleaming beside it, symbols not just of power but also unity among friends who had fought bravely against darkness. In that moment, a realization washed over Alara. They were not just protectors but also guardians, bound by friendship and love for their home, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. As celebrations filled the air with laughter and music, the trio knew this was only just beginning. United by purpose, they would continue to safeguard Eldoria, forever vigilant against any darkness that dared threaten their kingdom again. And so dawned a new era for Eldoria, a time filled with hope and resilience where stories would be told for generations about three brave friends who stood together against darkness and emerged victorious.